Today in Kyiv, a significant moment in European diplomacy unfolded as British Foreign Minister Yvette Cooper arrived for her first official visit to Ukraine since assuming office. This was not just a routine trip, it was a deliberate choice, a signal of intent. Her destination was the presidential offices of Volodymyr Zelensky, the heart of a country at war, the heart of Europe's most pressing security crisis. From the moment she stepped onto Ukrainian soil, the symbolism was clear. For Britain's new Foreign Secretary, Kyiv was the first stop, the first message, the first statement of her foreign policy agenda. And the message was unambiguous. Ukraine's fight is our fight. Ukraine's survival is Europe's survival. Inside the presidential offices, Cooper and Zelensky held talks that went far beyond ceremonial pleasantries. The agenda was urgent, shaped by the brutal realities of a war now stretching into its fourth year. They discussed the resilience of Ukraine's people, the challenges of sustaining energy infrastructure under relentless bombardment, and the pressing need to prepare for yet another winter of hardship and uncertainty. At the centre of the visit was a concrete announcement, a pledge of £142 million in aid from Britain to help Ukraine brace for the coming cold months. This package, Cooper explained, is designed to keep homes warm, to keep electricity running, and to help the Ukrainian people survive what promises to be another punishing season of blackouts and shortages brought on by Russian strikes against civilian infrastructure. It is not as dramatic as sending tanks or long-range missiles, but in many ways it is just as crucial. Wars are not only fought on the battlefield, they are endured in the homes of ordinary citizens. In her own words, Cooper put it clearly. In my first visit as Foreign Secretary, this was the most important place to come to show our unwavering support for Ukraine and our thanks to the Ukrainian people for their resilience, their strength, and their courage in the face of Russian aggression. We know that you do this for all of us because your security is our security. That phrase, your security is our security, echoes deeply in European politics. It is an articulation of shared destiny, a recognition that the front lines in Kharkiv, Kherson and Kyiv are not only Ukraine's battlefields, but Europe's. For Britain, this visit serves a dual purpose. It reassures Ukraine at a time of uncertainty, but it also signals continuity. The new Labour government in London, while facing domestic pressures at home, has chosen not to shift course on Ukraine. Instead, it is doubling down, affirming that Britain will remain at the forefront of support, regardless of who occupies 10 Downing Street. Cooper's presence in Kyiv is proof of that continuity and a reminder that the UK intends to be not just an ally, but a leader in Europe's collective response. This commitment comes at a moment when Western unity faces strain. In capitals across Europe, debates rage over budgets, energy prices, and the risks of escalation with Moscow. Some political factions question the costs of sustaining Kyiv year after year. Others warn that hesitation could embolden Russia further. Against this backdrop, Cooper's direct and uncompromising words serve as a warning to both Moscow and wavering allies. Britain will not waver, and it expects others to hold firm as well. For Zelensky, such assurances are lifelines. Each Western visit, each pledge of support, reinforces his government's ability to rally the Ukrainian people. The symbolism matters enormously. Every handshake with a foreign leader is a message to ordinary Ukrainians. You are not alone, and it is a message to Russia. The world has not forgotten. Beyond symbolism, there is the stark reality of Ukraine's condition on the ground. As the war drags on, Russian missile and drone attacks continue to target power stations, heating plants, and civilian neighborhoods. Last winter, millions were left without light or heat for weeks at a time. The Kremlin's strategy was simple: to freeze Ukraine into submission. This year, Kyiv and its allies are determined to blunt that weapon by investing early in energy resilience. Cooper's pledge of winter aid fits directly into that strategy to ensure that even as the bombs fall, Ukrainians can keep warm, keep working, and keep resisting. But this war is not just about endurance, it is about Europe's geopolitical balance. The message Cooper brought is as much about London's role as it is about Kyiv's plight. Britain has consistently been one of the first to deliver advanced weaponry, one of the most vocal in calling for sanctions, and one of the most consistent in messaging that peace cannot come at the cost of surrender. By making Kyiv her first stop, Cooper is making it clear that this stance is not negotiable. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to press for broader guarantees. Membership in NATO remains a long-term goal, as does entry into the European Union. Zelensky's team views every Western visit as a step towards securing that future. And while accession remains politically complicated, each show of solidarity strengthens Kyiv's case that Ukraine belongs firmly in the European family. Of course, challenges remain. Some European states are facing growing public fatigue over the war, particularly as economic troubles mount. Energy costs, inflation and domestic crises compete for attention. But history shows that wars of this scale are not won overnight, and endurance is as much a test as firepower. Cooper's words, "Your security is our security," are designed to remind Europeans that faltering now would have consequences far beyond Ukraine's borders. What happens in Kyiv does not stay in Kyiv. A weakened Ukraine would embolden Russia, destabilise Eastern Europe and undermine the credibility of NATO. A resilient Ukraine, on the other hand, not only defends itself, but acts as a bulwark for the continent. That is why visits like this matter and why every announcement of aid, every reaffirmation of support has to be viewed not as symbolic gestures, but as steps in a larger strategy to safeguard Europe's future. As Cooper concluded her visit, she left behind more than funding commitments. She left a message of solidarity, one that will be repeated in London, in Brussels and in Washington. Britain stands with Ukraine, not just today, not just this winter, but for as long as it takes. For Ukraine, battered yet defiant, that solidarity is priceless. For Britain, it is a matter of both principle and pragmatism. And for Europe, it is one more sign that the alliances forged in the crucible of war may very well shape the political order for decades to come. This was Yvette Cooper's first trip abroad as Foreign Minister, and she chose Kyiv. The choice speaks for itself. It is a declaration that in the struggle between democracy and aggression, Britain knows exactly where it stands, shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine.
Thank you very much for coming.
Wonderful to see you.
Thanks so much.
So much for having me.
Yeah, no, it's pleasure. It's pleasure.
Again, my congratulations, and we are really proud that you decided your first visit to do to Ukraine. Thank you so much. Thanks to you, and this is signal from you, and of course to Prime Minister Starmer, and really he is a big supporter of Ukraine. Thanks to your
security. That is why we were with you from day one, and we will be with you all the way through to peace, to victory, and also to the building of a new Ukraine.
It's important
as well. Exactly.
Okay, you did it earlier than me. I wanted to thank you that from the very beginning. It's really very sensitive issue, a sensitive moment, and I think for Ukrainians it's very important that UK hosts it a lot. Yes, but we need them at home in any way, yes. But after the war.
And for me, in my first visit as Foreign Secretary, this was the most important place to come to show our unwavering support for Ukraine and our thanks to you and to the Ukrainian people for your resilience and your strength and your courage in the face of Russian aggression. We know that you do this for all of us because your security is our